Hey everybody, I'm back. The phone cut off there for a second. So, what I was saying is if that energy is coming up where you feel like, for some reason you like want to fix what's going on with them or solve their problems or mother them or whatever, it's really a sign that, and it's okay, but you're not accepting their authentic version of themselves now. Right, and that really just means that you probably don't vibrationally line up with them at this time, and you have an attachment to them, so you're trying to like fix things, right? But you're not going to. That person who they're showing you as their authentic self right now in this moment is causing you to want to fix something in them, and that means that their authentic self in this moment doesn't really match up with your authentic self in this moment, right? Otherwise, you would be able to unconditionally love them and accept them for who they are, and you would be able to navigate any triggers that come up in the relationship, and you would be able to communicate well with them and things like that. Certainly, relationships aren't perfect, right? We all have shadows here, right? We have a light side of us and a dark side of us, right? We experience contrast here in this reality. I certainly have a shadow side and a light side. But it's really about asking yourself, does my light side and my shadow side jive with this other person? Is this person aware of a light side and a shadow side? Are they aware of their light side and shadow side? And are they willing to meet you in a place of connection where when the shadow side does come up and is triggered, are you guys going to be able to navigate that together through communication, through holding that spot of unconditional love together, even in the midst of all of that? Or is the other person not meeting you there? And is the person being very reactive all the time and not really willing to go into the depths of awareness in the situation and communication about it? And that kind of segues me into another sign that it's time to leave. When you can't communicate with the other person, when you try to communicate to them and you do your part to reach out in communication, but the other person is triggered and is not able to meet you in that communication, maybe they're reacting, maybe they're calling you names, they're getting mean with you, or maybe they're shutting down completely and isolating themselves and not willing to express their emotions to you. All of these are signs that you're trying to have a connection and relationship with someone and reach out with good communication and bringing awareness into triggered situations. But if they're not meeting you there, it really is a sign that maybe that person is not ready for a relationship. And I know this can be really hard because some of us, we get into relationships when we're younger. For me, this is what happened. You end up having kids, and for me, a long time, the mentality was, oh, it's best if we stay together so that the kids are raised in a household with both parents. See, I was raised without both of my parents. So I thought, I'm going to give my kids what I didn't have and give them the best and give them this two-person household, and, that's just going to be the best for them. But in reality, I came to the awareness that I was actually living in a toxic relationship situation. When we got to the point where we were constantly triggering each other and we were not communicating well, and it became fights and fights even in front of our kids and things like that, And if you're reaching out to change the situation, and the other person is not meeting you there, plus not only can you feel like you can't communicate with them, but now you have this, oh, I gotta fix things energy about you, and the other person is not respecting your boundaries or your feelings. I mean, it just culminates into, suddenly get this moment of clarity. This is not what I want, and I don't have to stay in a situation that I don't want. And take it from me, making that choice to leave and then actually leaving is hard, and it is a process, and it is kind of scary, and uncertain. You're stepping out into the unknown, you're stepping into territory that you've never been before if you're becoming a single parent, or maybe you're releasing an attachment that you've had with somebody for a long time. This could even be, a best friend situation, like I said, or maybe you've worked with the same people for a long time, but there's this toxic energy surrounding the connection with you and the group, and some of these things that I've just said are going on. It's better to liberate yourself from that situation, because your energy is just going to continue to be drained, and you could be spending your energy on so many more productive things that you're really passionate about. When I left that relationship, my energy felt so much more positive overall, and I felt more energized on a daily basis, and I realized to the extent that my energy was being drained in that relationship. Constantly dealing with my own triggers and his triggers on a daily basis, just so much stuff always going on that my energy was going into, and I'm just so happy that it's not going into that now on a daily basis. And now I have more time for myself and things that I really care about. So if you notice that you're constantly feeling drained around this person or this group of people, and you come away from them for a time, you leave your house, you leave the place that they are, and you feel better, that is a sign as well. It's a sign that your energy is being drained around these people. And you could spend all day, thinking, oh, this is a lesson for me to learn as far as how not to let my energy drain out to these people or whatever, and then you stay in the midst of it, and you try to become this, superpower of a person who can stay in a toxic situation yet be unharmed by it, but it's a waste of time to do that, and that's not the lesson here. The lesson is, if your energy is being drained by a constant toxicity that is going on in a relationship, no matter what it is, friendship, work, romantic relationship, like I said, the lesson is that you need to get space from that. Because on a subconscious level, for some reason you've internalized the belief that you have to stay around toxic people and toxic relationships. And that could be for a numerous amount of reasons. If you just simply sit one day quietly and ask yourself, why do I feel like that? The answer will come to you. So that would be a great exercise if you want to do that, to get to know yourself a little bit better. Because once we come into awareness of things like that, it's a lot easier to make the choice to go in a different direction. So these are some of the key points for how to know when it's time to leave. I'm going to say one more thing that I've noticed that's come up in my friendships. I've talked a lot now about romantic relationships, right? But with friendships, I've had to leave some friendships when I noticed the other person distanced themselves from me when either I was going through a difficult time when I needed somebody, or they were going through a difficult time when they needed somebody. So somebody who feels like, and this is also if you're around people in your life that distance themselves from you when you are going through good times, or when they're going through good times and they distance themselves from you. See, I came to realize that in my life, I've been around people who loved the light side of me, right? They loved it when I was in my power, when I was expressing joy and positivity and all of this great stuff, right? They loved being around me. But then when parts of my shadow would come out, parts of me that felt, scared or fearful about something, a little anxious or worried, and was going through difficult circumstances in my life that I was overcoming, they distanced themselves. So there were friends that only wanted to be a part of the light side of Rachel Wild, but on the other side, I also had people in my life who only wanted to be around me when I was experiencing painful situations, because maybe they were in a dominant vibration of pain, and so they liked that part of me and were attracted to it. And of course, it's nice to have people who can relate to your painful experiences, so I would feel some camaraderie when I was going through those things, right? But when I would step into my power, and when I would be doing really well and be really positive, they were very against that part of me. That part of me didn't jive with them. And they were either really critical of it, or they distanced themselves, right? So I noticed it on both sides. There was like having my light friends and having my dark friends. And a while ago I started singing a song about it, actually, and I just realized, who is gonna love me all the time? Who is gonna be with me all the time? Who is gonna walk with me all the time? Because that is true connection, that is true friendship, that is true relationship. Recognizing that every single one of us has a light side and a dark side, and who is going to walk with me no matter what side I am displaying at any given time. That is unconditional love. Being with somebody through all of it. Right? So I've had to let go of friends who only wanted a part of me, if that makes sense, right? And this could be with romantic partners as well, and it can be with working relationships as well. If there are people who only thrive on being around you when you are experiencing pain, but they're critical of your light, that's a sign that it's time to leave that friendship. And if there are people that only thrive around you being light, right, and are critical of your darkness, or distance themselves from you during your darkness, that's a sign that it's time to leave. Now, certainly before you leave the connection, you can bring this up to them, right? You can express how what they're doing is making you feel, and you can give them the boundary of, it means a lot to me in my friendships when people are there during the good times and the bad times, right? People who are there with me all the time, no matter what. That's what I really value in connection. That's what I really value in friendship. And you can tell them how it's made you feel, and you can express your boundary of what you expect in a great relationship and a connection that is valuable to you. And they can decide with that information if they want to continue being your friend, because maybe they start to see it a little bit differently, and they say, yeah, you're right. That's what I want too. Let's be there for each other and let's go there. So if somebody wants to meet you there and keep going forward with you, great. But if you say this stuff to them and maybe it's a little bit different for a while, but then it goes back to being the way that, they only really like a certain side of you, and they're like critical or distance themselves from the other side of you, and you've already expressed to them and you set the boundary, then it's time to leave. And the really great thing about just finally leaving and deciding you're done with it is that you're giving a clear message to the universe of what you don't want. So now you're making space for and sending the message to the universe that what you want is different than this over here. So the universe is going to start bringing you other people into your life who are already on that same wavelength of what you want. You guys are going to match up. You guys are going to attract to each other. But if you do this dance of staying in toxicity when you've pinpointed it and you don't really want to be there, whatever, you're not giving the universe an opportunity to bring bigger and better things into your life, opportunities and people who are actually going to vibe with you, and people who are actually part of your soul tribe and who are longing for you just as much as you're longing for them, okay? So the people out there that can be a really great friend or can be a really amazing romantic partner with you, they are going to come into your life after you make space for them, which means deciding that you're done entertaining toxic relationships in all forms, whatever they may be, okay, and deciding to leave and make space so that something else can enter your life, which is going to align with you more and is going to match up with you, okay? So those are some of the main signs and ways to tell if it's time to once and for all leave that connection, leave that relationship, leave that group of people that you've been so used to hanging around. And when you do, you're going to attract the people that you really want into your life, that are going to love you and accept you and value you and care for you for exactly who you are in your entirety, the light side of you and the dark side of you, okay? That is unconditional love, and that's what you'll begin to attract into your life when you send the universe the message that you're ready for it. Okay, so I'm sure there's other signs too that come up. These are the main ones off the top of my head today that I really felt were important to give you guys, so that hopefully this video really helps somebody just make that final decision after you've been debating it for a while, and know that you can come out of it on the other side a much happier person, feeling lighter, with so much room to expand and grow and finally do the things that you want to do and not let anybody hold you back or get in your way. And you can come into better, more loving relationships than you've ever known previously, okay? So I love you all so much. Thank you so much for stopping by my channel. If you happen to catch this part of the video, there's actually a part 1 that I did, and so check that out in the description box below to go back to the first video. Like I said, it cut out, so I did a part 2, and this is part 2. So be sure to check out the first video and subscribe to my channel if you would love to see more videos from me when I release them. Give this video a thumbs up, please, if you liked it and it struck a chord with you and you felt something in your heart. Otherwise, I will see you guys next time. Have a wonderful day. Bye.